It's John Park's Workshop, and I'm here, and you're here, and that's awesome. Thank you for stopping by today. We are getting ready to do this. We have an exciting and fun and action-packed, gadget-filled show in store for you. So why don't we just kick it off, huh? Well, the first thing I want to mention is our jobs board. We've got a jobs board at Adafruit, and that is the jobs.adafruit.com board. And if you head there, here's the sort of thing you're going to see. We've got positions here that people are listing, and it is free, always free for you to post a position or post a resume. And look, here's some new stuff since last time. There's a position open for an embedded systems engineer at Waldermeyer in London. And there is also a Adafruit Feather 32U4 get data from hardware serial, then send it through BLE UART and check for input in BLE UART. That is a very specific freelance job posting that I checked the posting, and it's a solar car project that's looking for some software help. So those are just a couple of the things that you will find over in the jobs.adafruit.com board. So I encourage you to check it out. I'm just going to try to raise my level here, so in case you were raising your volume to fix my low level, watch out, because I'm going to bring this up nice and gently so I don't blow your speakers and ears off. Let me know how that sounds. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat for checking on my levels. All right, let's see. What do we have next? I'd love to mention a coupon code that you can use to save 10% off in the store, and that is Now Playing. And that's our project name for the week. So our coupon code is Now Playing, Now-Playing. And that'll get you 10% off on the stuff that you can get in the store. You can't use that on software or gift certificates or subscriptions, but on real actual stuff, physical things made with atoms, this will get you 10% off. So use that in your cart on checkout. Enter that in and you'll see your 10% off applied automatically. And since I have mentioned the coupon code and the store and the stuff, I'm going to mention a product of the week. And my product of the week is this little lovely guy. This is the Noise Bit. It is a peripheral for the microbit. And I'll actually show you a demo of it. So, whoops. What the Noise Bit does is it adds an amplifier and a speaker to the microbit. So I don't know if you're familiar with the lovely little BBC microbit, but it's a wonderful little microcontroller, and you can code it in MicroPython or in MakeCode. I've got this one coded up in MakeCode, and what you'll see is when I plug in a little battery, it's going to give us a little sort of sine wavy looking thing that I made, a little animation I made in there right in MakeCode, but it's making no noise. Now, when I plug it into this lovely little Noise Bit by Pimeroni, you'll just use this little edge connector here and plug it in. You should probably have it turned off when you do this, but I'm going to live on the edge and just plug it right in if I can get it lined up. I've got it upside down. Let's try that again. Hey, there it is. Ooh, is this not paying attention to my accelerometer? Let me restart it. Try that again. I've got a pitch based on accelerometer code I wrote. There we go. All right, so all of that is possible because of this lovely little gizmoid right here, and you can go and pick one up in the store and you get 10% off if you use that coupon code we mentioned before. That is the Now Playing. And that's the Noise Bit for Microbit. And there's a bunch of little add-ons for Microbit in the Adafruit store, some from Pimeroni, some from other makers, vendors. So check this one out, though. I think it's really an elegant solution to using sound output on the microbit, which does not have amp or speaker built in. And so typically you use alligator clips to hook it into a little speaker. but this gives you a nice beefy amp, and it looks cool to boot. So that's my product pick of the week, the Noise Bit for Microbit. So let's see. What have we got next? Let me unplug this guy, save some battery, huh? And set this over here by my chargers. In fact, what have I got next? Well, how about the Make Code Minute? All right, so let's get this set up here. What I've got for the Make Code Minute today is a way to use the Circuit Playground Express as a keyboard input device. I know that's been a theme lately. Keyboard HID input device over USB, so plugged in, but I'm doing it on an Android tablet in this case. So mobile devices, I'll try to show you what I've got set up here, although I have a bazillion cables plugged in, and then I'm gonna switch to a display. So there's a little Android tablet there, and over USB, I've just plugged in this lovely little Circuit Playground Express. So let's look at the code first, and then we'll look at it in action. If you take a look here, I'm bare minimum. This is really simple. All I've done is I've gone into Advanced Extensions and added the keyboard extension. So this keyboard extension gives us the option to add in media key, function keys, or keyboard presses, or just sending a single character. So what I've done is I've said using the input on button A click, the keyboard will type out the phrase Circuit Playground Express, and on a button B click, it'll type in the phrase Make Code. So to see it in action, I've got the Android tablet plugged in here, and now I'm going to press a button on my Circuit Playground Express, and you can see here it just types in Circuit Playground Express. And now I'll press the other button, and it types out Make Code. So this is really great because previously there were some issues with plugging in the device into an Android tablet or into an iOS device where you'd get one of those warnings where it said, oh, we can't use this accessory. Some things have been fixed in the background in beta. So if you want to do this, you can go into beta, and when you compile your code and download it onto the Circuit Playground Express, it'll now work on your mobile devices again, which is excellent. A lot of cool projects you can do with that. And so that is how you can use your Circuit Playground Express as an HID keyboard input device over USB inside of Make Code. And that is your Make Code Minute. All right, well, I'm very excited too to have an Android tablet up and running and plug-inable over my here. Let's bring up one. In fact, so let's see. Can I make that bigger for you? I will. This is risky behavior right on the live stream, but I'm going to do it. Let's put me over on the side here, and I'll send you. How about sure, like that. So one of the other things you can do here, I'm just going to go to Settings, and if I can find it again, under Inputs, we can see our keyboards. So let's see, is this it? Language and Input, Physical Keyboard. You'll actually see it shows up here as CPlay Express app, CPlay Express app. It shows up the same name twice. So it knows that physical keyboard is plugged in. What I've also done is I've turned on the show keyboard assistance, show on-screen keyboard. And this is convenient when you're doing HID stuff because as you can see here, once I have, oh sorry, it's tweaking out there a little. Let me see if I can plug that in a little better. Once I've started using the Circuit Playground Express, so I just pressed the button again to make that happen, I can touch that and get the on-screen keyboard. Since the Circuit Playground Express only has so many buttons on it and I didn't designate one to be a delete, you can't use it otherwise. So very cool. I'll try to work out some of these little glitchy problems that are going back and forth there with the signal, or I'll try some other converter boxes. It's a conversion from USB-C to HDMI going on there. All right, so let's see. That takes care, I think, pretty handily of that. In fact, I will go ahead and plug that HDMI back into my little down shooter so we can use that with our next project. So moving on, though, the next thing I'd like to talk about is my MakeCode Arcade game pick of the week. And my MakeCode Arcade game pick of the week this week is Concentration. And Concentration is by Alex K., who posted this in the MakeCode forum, so forum.makecode.com. And Alex is a super advanced MakeCode Arcade, a super advanced MakeCode Arcade user. He's published some of the most incredible games, and this one's no exception. This is the Concentration game, and I thought this was really nice because it's a different style of gameplay. It's not as much of an arcade game as some of the other ones that we've seen. So I can load up the simulator here. And I think I mentioned this, maybe I mentioned this last week, but it was something we published in the MakeCode newsletter, is that there's now a way to publish your games on GitHub.io. And so this is a game that's been published on GitHub.io. You get this nice full browser view experience here of the simulator. And you can see it's a game of concentration that says, can you clear 24 cards in 75 seconds? So you use the arrow keys to move around, and you use the A key to select a card and flip it over. So let's give it a try. And so you can see here, I will pick objects and try to match them. No matches so far. Pizza, did I have a pizza already? I don't think I did. A duck, a princess, that was this one. No, it wasn't. It was, no, there's a taco. Oh gosh, I'm going to do terrible, the pressure. Pizza, pizza. Oh, there was a duck. I think the duck is the second one. Believe it or not, I've actually defeated the game before. Where was that princess? Oh boy. Ah, look, there's a match. So you can see it's a pretty typical concentration type of memory game, flipping cards over. You get 75 seconds, and you try to get as many as you can in that time. I'll stop the game here. And what I'll say is that if you go to that forum post, you'll learn some really interesting things that Alex has set up. For example, importing the code into MakeCode from a URL is how he's having you open this. And he's also got a really nice blocks preview of the game. Let me zoom around here a bit. So this is actually a screenshot he saved, a PNG of the game. And then you can also open up the game and take a look at the code that was used, or the blocks that were used to create it. And one thing he suggests, which is really nice, is you'll see right here we have this array of images, and those are the images that are used in making the tiles. So you can build your own graphics for this, or pick different ones from the gallery, which is a fun way to customize the game. So that is my arcade game pick of the week. It is Concentration by Alex K. Beautifully done. I recommend you all go check it out. That's the MakeCode Arcade game pick of the week. I swear to you, I know I see Todd laughing at me in the chat. Whoops, that's not the chat. There's the chat. I see you laughing at me for not being any good at that. By the way, speaking of chat, if you're interested in chatting and you're over in the Twitch or Facebook, please go have a look at our Adafruit Discord server. That is where a lot of people are chatting. If you don't see any chat going on in Twitch or Facebook or Periscope or some other places, most of our people are in Discord, and then some people over in YouTube. So Discord's a great community for discussing Adafruit-like stuff with Adafruit-like people, so we recommend you check it out. And I will say, I am keeping an eyeball, this one, on the YouTube chat over here, and I'll say hi, everyone. Thank you. Hey, RA4FOC from Russia. Welcome. Hey, Carol. And hey, Quentin Leitner. Thank you. Nice workshop, he says. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. So RA4FOC asks or says, please create an ECG sensor. I will be doing some more sensor stuff. I think I've got heart rate sensor and some other BLE service-based sensors on the docket. So those will be coming in the next couple weeks. Hi, Connor McCarter. Welcome. All right, let's see. What else have we got here? Why don't we jump into the project of the week? I think that's what I've got up next, right? Did I make any notes to myself? Yeah, all that. That looks good. All right. Yeah, actually, before we go on to this week's project, I will do a little update from last week's project, which I can't remember. Did I show this? This is the PCB version, the Proto Gizmo version of this volume controller knob project. I won't fire it up right now because I'll screw up Bluetooth on my phone maybe because I've got something else hooked up to it. But I went from this one, which was on the breadboard, and then when I was happy with that, I decided to perma-proto it, and I recommend these perma-proto gizmos for Circuit Playground Express or Circuit Playground Bluefruit because it gives you a nice little bit of space to prototype a circuit or kind of more permanently solder a circuit on there, as well as some power and ground rails and connections out to each of the, in fact, let me go to the overhead just to make sure that's working, or the down shooter. Yeah, there it is. Gives you an opportunity to connect up to the same pads that we have these usually alligator clip connections to. Those are actually broken out here too. So I did all my wiring underneath. I won't take it apart now, but anyway, pardon me if I showed that last week. I honestly can't remember. All right, so let's see. For this week's project, what I've got in store is a Apple Media Service. A BLE device that uses Apple's Apple Media Service. So first of all, what is Apple Media Service? Let me fire up my phone here and show it my face. There we go, so it logs in. And I've got notifications turned off, but they're still popping up. I don't know why. We'll see if that continues. So there's my phone. I have Spotify open on here right now. And the media apps on the phone, such as Music, which is Apple's built-in sort of replacement for what was called iTunes, Podcast, Spotify, those are the three I've tested, but I'm guessing a lot of things that are essentially a music player or a podcast player use this Apple Media Service to allow a Bluetooth peripheral device to connect and then share data back and forth. So typically, typical example for this is the Apple Watch, which I don't have, but imagine. Apple Watch will show what song is playing and the album name and give you some controls for going to the next track or changing volume. So those are a sort of set of characteristics inside of the Apple Media Service that allow for things like asking to read the track information. So you're asking the phone, in this case, to send its track information to the peripheral device. The ability to send commands for things like track advance. And then the other characteristic is really just about the name of the device and the player that you're using. So we've got a library built that allows us to control these things inside of CircuitPython. So let me switch to a down shooter view here. Get that out of the way a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'll plug in the battery on this gizmo here, Circuit Playground Bluefruit and Gizmo. You can see it gives me a little Bluetooth Connect icon, and now it's negotiating the connection. And we may add some lights or something during that part so you don't worry that something is broken. And now you can see, if I can, let me try to focus on that real quick. I got to turn off autofocus on this. Okay, so that's pretty well focused. So you can see here it's saying that it's playing the song University. And if I plug in here, I can press this button to pause or unpause. Okay, and I know that might be loud. Apologies, I don't have an easy way to control that, so let me know if that's outrageous. I'm going to not talk at the same time as that because I don't think you'll hear me over it. But what I'll do now is I'm going to press the other button on the Circuit Playground Bluefruit, and that will send a next track command. And so watch the phone here. It's going to switch to the next track. It will start playing automatically, so I'll let it. And it will update the track name on here. So you can see it's very responsive. And what I'm going to do now is actually flip the toggle switch, and that'll send, that'll allow this button to actually, instead of being next track, it'll be previous track, so I can back up through the list. So I flipped that, and now you'll see if I go to a different view on the album here, we can see if I pick a song, it updates the name here, and if I pick another, we get the same. If I pause, either here or on this device, we have a little paused on Spotify that shows up. So depending on the media player, you'll see the name there. And now I'll flip my switch again to forward mode. I think that's forward mode. And so you can see that's flipping forward through the playlist. Now what I'll do is I'll actually change apps. So let's go to the, whoops, that's not it. Let's go to music. And let's see. So you can see that updated here, and I'll go to the next track. Oh, I need to play first. So those aren't downloaded. There we go. So I'll pause that so we don't get a copyright strike, because that's not our music, but you can see I can fast forward, or next track, next track, next track. And the same will work with podcasts. So I can play this.
Come out, get home by 11 or whatever, and
so you can see here actually on the podcast, the album name actually comes across as just the date, and that's just how that's been entered by that podcast. So that is our exciting new development in the world of Bluetooth. So let's take a look actually at how some of that stuff works. Todd Bott said he noticed I have AHA in my iTunes library. It is true, and it is Take On Me. So let's see, if I bring up, how about I'll show you inside of Moo, or in Atom, and I'll put me here. How about that instead? So let's go over to Atom. And this, I think this is a pretty recent version. This is up to the minute, so this is some code that Maker Melissa has been helping me with, all this display code, and Scott Shawcroft did the initial figuring out of all this, and library along with Dan and probably other members of the CircuitPython community. So thank you so much for making this really straightforward to work with. I'm going to zoom up my text a little bit for you there. And let me turn on some soft wrap here. Okay. So what you'll see here is we are going to import a bunch of libraries in. Some of this is just for displaying to the screen and the terminal I/O, the gizmo, and so on. And then we're bringing in Adafruit BLE, and from that we're grabbing advertising so that the TFT gizmo can show up as a peripheral device that the central, or the phone, can find and connect to. And in fact, before I forget, let me just show you what this looks like in the phone menu. If I go to Bluetooth, you'll see a device should be in there called the Now Playing Gizmo. So it's that one right there. So that is paired and bonded, which is something I spoke about last week. And what that means is we have one connection that's made where the iPhone will pop up the dialog box that says, do you want to pair? You say yes. Then they exchange some encrypted info that they maintain. And so when we lose the connection and reinitiate the connection, turn one of the devices on and off, for example, you don't have to go through pairing again. It connects automatically because it's bonded. So then we have a new library, and so we've been making these as kind of one library per service. And so if you remember when we started talking about BLE, BLE has services. Some of them are predefined. Apple Media Service is a predefined one. Heart rate monitor service is a predefined one. If you see my pink, or actually blue bulb back there, it looks kind of pink on screen. That bulb is not a predefined service, so we, the manufacturer just created a set of characteristics that we then used in that project, but these are actually published ones. So we're able to look at Apple's reference documents for developers and see what characteristics and attributes are going to be used to communicate with the device. So we're also importing the Adafruit Circuit Playground, which is makes a lot of things easy, like using buttons and switches, and I might add some NeoPixel support to this as well. And then we're setting up some variables for some colors of things on screen. Then we set up the, instantiate the Bluetooth radio here with this radio equals Adafruit BLE, BLE radio. And then we're also adding, that's where this nice name comes from. So I called it the Now Playing Gizmo, and that's how that'll show up instead of just getting a device that calls itself like Circuit Python and some numbers, or Circuit Playground and some numbers. We then have some functions that Melissa created for our display graphics for setting up a bitmap and setting up the text in little inside of the hierarchies of the text and the tile grid. We're loading up a couple of fonts, and this is some of the stuff we're fine-tuning right now. So we can't fit the name of a really long title on there, so we actually get to use this max length variable that you'll see here is something that we can define per label line. And just through testing, we came up with numbers that you want to get this far, then you'll just type in a ... And so when we reach that max length -3, we then type in the ... for long titles. Let's see, then here is the radio connection being made to the device, looking for something to connect to, and then it does when we hit pair for that first time, or bonding takes care of it at subsequent times. All of these are the different characteristic attributes that we're getting back from the phone when we ask for them, defined in how we're labeling them. And so if you look in, this is sort of the key stuff, the new key stuff right here. So AMS equals connection to Apple Media Service. So here we're instantiating the Apple Media Service connection. And then we're setting what labels, those are the lines of text that show up, what those labels are. And so here you can see I've got Carpenter, Bartle Beats, and Frequency showing up. And those are the title, album, and artist. And the way I'm getting those in code here is by this request, which is asking the phone, media app running on the phone, for the Apple Media Service title, and it returns the track title, and album returns the album name, and artist returns the artist name. And then we also get this one, the player name. So you may have noticed if I, let's go to the overhead for a second here. Where'd you go, overhead? You'll notice that at the bottom there it says this is playing in Spotify. But if I just change which app I'm running on the iOS device, I won't switch over to that for you, but let me bring up music, and let's play something. Now it says that it's playing this in music. So that's the name of the player name, and it does the same for podcasts when we switch to that. So that's a pretty cool feature. It's one of the things that Apple exposed in the service there, is the player name attribute. And then we're using the buttons to, remember I said I showed you we can toggle forward or back, and we can pause and play. those are also defined in an Apple Media Service. So these are, here's this ams.toggle play pause. So that's an official, something we have in our library that's sending a real defined command to the paired device or the bonded connected device. And same with AMS previous track and next track. In fact, let me see if I can find it. I'm already working on the guide for this, and I have a link to Apple's media service reference that I'll show you. So let me bring this up in my other browser here for you. Let's see. All right. So here, I'll have to zoom this up a bit. Oh, wow, it doesn't zoom well. All right, sorry. Hey, Apple, what'd you do? Let me rebuild it. Oh, they're being funky, aren't they? What have I done? Let me reload. All right, I won't try to zoom in on that. You know what, I might need a wider window for it to show its navigation. I think it thinks it's showing it on a mobile or something. No. All right, this isn't the one I want, so it's, oh, yeah, this is acting very flaky. All right, well, I'll have links to this in the guide. That's not showing up well. But we essentially have all of those services that they've published built into our library. So I showed you the few that we have here in this project, but I'm going to give you a nice list for everything. So it's not everything that can be used in every app, but if you're using, for example, the Spotify app, then I think the like or dislike characteristic attribute, sending that as a command, actually, a media command, will work. It will probably work in the Apple one for sure, in music. And so there are things like fast forwarding, rewinding, next track, previous track, shuffle. You can also ask for those modes. So not only can you send commands to say, do this, but you can also just check on what mode is it in right now. And in fact, that's how I'm doing this play pause thing. If you noticed, we had play and pause showing up at the bottom on the device. So right now it says playing on iMusic, and if I, whoa, what did I do? Whoa! I touched something I shouldn't have. All right, it's a live demo for sure. Let me restart this. We'll let this reconnect, and let me go back to Spotify. You'll see that I'm sending a toggle command. I'm not using one button for play and one button for pause. They have those, but they also have this play pause. So let's start something here. And I don't think you'll hear the sound now because I don't have that selected. If I pause that, you'll see it says paused on Spotify. So I'm sending a toggle which my device here might not know the state of. That would be kind of difficult. If I hit play on the device or pause on the device, I might not be in sync with that as far as just using one button toggle. But the nice thing is that the Apple Media Service actually sends that attribute as well. So it's something that we're requesting every time we loop through the main loop of the code here. I can show that again. We actually, if AMS playing or else if AMS paused. So those are, again, things that we can ask the media player to report back to us so that we stay accurate in that little label that we're using. And so that's about it. That's how our project of the week works. I can play this. I'll pause that again. So that is the latest in our Bluetooth services, Bluetooth LE services that we've been tackling. Also, another thing this has is volume up down. So while I was doing it with some HID stuff last time, we can now also do it right inside of the media app. I don't think that necessarily changes how things work. I think most devices use volume for the device as well as the the app. Got a question over on Facebook, which is from Lee Fedewa. Sorry, joined late. What language is it in? Python? Yeah, it's this is CircuitPython actually, so it's our fork of MicroPython. And so it is designed to very specifically work on microcontrollers, particularly ones using peripheral devices and sensors and boards that you can plug in. So we have a bazillion libraries that make it easy to work with a lot of microcontrollers and add-ons using CircuitPython. Let's see. I think that's it. Let's check in with our good friends over in Discord. What's happening, Discord? I promised, I think last week or maybe the week before, that I'd try to carve out a little time to answer any questions. So if you've got any questions, go ahead and ask them of me, and I'll scroll back here and see. Oh, Todd brings up a point. He says, I bet it works on the YouTube app too. That's a good question. I will get sucked into a black hole if I try opening YouTube right now on my phone, I bet, just because I'm broadcasting on YouTube and those things happen. But that is probably a good guess there, that you'd be able to, get back some of that media service, track information and pause and play and so on. Let's see. What else? Some discussions of Vangelis and jazz. Excellent. FX Music says this would be very cool on the PyPortal. You're absolutely right. So for PyPortal, I guess we would want to use a NRF 52840 backpack plugged into that. So there are, I think there are some ways that you could do that on the PyPortal. But unless I'm losing my mind, I don't think we have Bluetooth built on. It's just Wi-Fi. So there might be some added hardware to do that. But someone remind me, because I put PyPortal right out of my mind recently when I filled up my brain and started moving on to some Bluetooth stuff. Let's see. What else? Wow, that is way too loud. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there was no way that I could figure out to deal with the volume control individually on that one track. So sorry about that. All right, good. I think we're caught up. Yeah, let me know if anyone has any other questions before we go. I will mention that this is our coupon code of the day, Now Playing, to go along with our Now Playing app title. And that project is going to be coming out soon. So if you use Now Playing as your coupon code on the way out of the Adafruit store, you will save 10%. So why not do it? I recommend you do. Let's see. Quentin Leitner says they keep moving the comment button. Which comment button where? I don't know. Oh, yeah, Byron Blank is correct. I was talking to the Discords, but let's see. Any questions in YouTube? No questions that I see. All right. Well, I think that does it. We are a little over time, so I will wrap it up right there. Thank you so much for stopping by. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park, and this has been John Park's Workshop, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.